Stage 1. The founder. You're 29. You started this in a rented office above a dry cleaner in San Francisco with 4 people and a product that didn't fully work yet, but that you could see completely in your mind, the way certain people can see finished buildings inside empty lots. You were not the smartest person in the room, technically. You were the person who could make other people believe in the room. That is a different and rarer skill, and you understood early that it was yours. The first round of funding was $3 million from a venture firm whose partner took your meeting as a favor to someone else and called you back 2 days later. The product launched 14 months after. It worked. Not perfectly. Enough. The third version worked well enough that the growth curve on the whiteboard started doing something that made your CFO, a careful man who had seen a lot of whiteboards, go quiet in a specific way. You worked 18 hours a day. You ate badly. You slept in the office twice a week. You missed your best friend's wedding and sent a gift that cost more than the venue. You told yourself you would make it up to him. The company grew. The making it up never quite happened. This is the first thing you lose. You don't notice it going. You're looking at the whiteboard. Stage 2. The billion. You're 34. The valuation crosses $1 billion on a Tuesday afternoon during a Series C closing call, and your general counsel says the number out loud in a conference room full of lawyers and bankers and your co-founder, who you have been fighting with for 8 months. And everything stops for a moment, and everyone looks at you. You smile the right smile and say the right thing, and inside, you feel something that is not what you expected. Not joy. A kind of vertigo. The number is abstract the way large numbers are abstract, existing only as a symbol of something that hasn't materialized yet because most of it is on paper. But the symbol matters. The symbol changes things. Your parents call. Old classmates appear in your inbox with the warm, reconnective energy of people doing math about what your net worth means for their lives. You buy a house in Pacific Heights without negotiating because negotiating felt small. This is the first financial decision you make that has nothing to do with value. It will not be the last. Stage 3. The empire. You're 38. The company is worth $40 billion. You are on the cover of 3 magazines. You have given a TED Talk viewed 22 million times, containing a vision of the future, so specifically yours that it has become the thing people mean when they say your name. You have a foundation, a chief of staff, a head of security, a personal chef, assistants who manage your existence with the thoroughness of people running a small government. You are never alone. You have not been genuinely alone in 4 years. You are also, though you would not use this word, becoming difficult. Not dramatically, incrementally. The circle of people willing to tell you something you don't want to hear has been shrinking for 2 years. The people who remained are people who have learned which observations are welcome and which ones cost them their proximity to the center. The center is you. You do not understand yet what this has done to your ability to see clearly. You will. Stage 4. The hubris. You're 41. You make a decision that everyone in the room thinks is wrong, and nobody says is wrong. The decision is an acquisition. $6 billion for a company in a tangential space that you believe will create something transformative. Your CFO shows you 3 scenarios. You spend 11 minutes on the conservative one and 40 minutes on the optimistic one. You approve the acquisition. The integration goes badly in month 2. Worse in month 4. By month 7, the internal numbers are showing something. The external communications are not showing, because the external communications are managed by people who understand that their proximity to you depends on you remaining confident. You receive a weekly summary document. The summary contains the information your team has decided you should receive. This is not conspiracy. This is the natural consequence of surrounding yourself with people whose primary skill is managing your perception. You built this system. You are now inside it. Stage 5. The short seller. You're 42. A research firm publishes a report on a Wednesday morning. 63 pages. Sourced. The report argues your company's core metrics have been systematically misrepresented to investors for 3 years. By the time you arrive at the office, the stock has fallen 11%. Your response calls the report a bad faith attack by people with a financial interest in your failure, which is true. The report is also largely accurate, which is the part the response does not address. You did not instruct anyone to misrepresent the metrics. What you did was create an environment in which the metrics that supported the story were reported upward and outward, and the metrics that complicated the story were managed differently. You know this. You have always known it in the peripheral way that you know things you have decided not to examine directly. The stock recovers. The report fades. You tell yourself it is over. The SEC has opened a preliminary inquiry. It is not over. Stage 6. The board. You're 43. The board meeting lasts 6 hours. The lead independent director, a woman who ran a Fortune 500 company for 9 years, and who you privately underestimated for all 4 years she sat on your board, presents a governance review commissioned without your knowledge 6 weeks ago. It documents the acquisition decision. It documents the metric reporting practices. It documents 3 instances of material information being withheld from the board. It recommends changes that would functionally transfer operational authority from you to a restructured executive committee. You listen. You are composed. You have been in difficult rooms before, and you have always been the best person in them. You are not today the best person in this room. The vote is 4-3. The governance changes pass. You retain the title of CEO. You have lost the company. Stage 7. The leak. You're 43. Someone inside the company is talking to a journalist. 3 things said in 3 different meetings have appeared in 3 different articles. You hire a security consultant. The internal investigation is conducted with a thoroughness that crosses several lines and becomes its own problem when details of the investigation are themselves leaked to the same journalist. The story that publishes is no longer about the original meetings. It is about the investigation. The headline uses the word surveillance. 8 current and former employees describe a culture that has shifted from the early days. They use words like paranoid and retaliatory and afraid. You give an interview 3 days later intended to reset the narrative. It produces a clip. 15 seconds. A moment where you answer a direct question about the employee descriptions, and your response, technically accurate, lands in a way that no preparation could have prevented. The clip circulates for 4 days. You watch it 20 times. You cannot find the moment where it went wrong. The moment is at the beginning. The moment is the question. Stage 8. The investigation. You're 44. The SEC inquiry has become a formal investigation. The DOJ has opened a parallel case. You have 5 separate legal teams for 5 separate exposure areas. Legal fees are $2 million a month. The discovery process has produced 4 million documents written by people who did not know they would ever be read by federal prosecutors. You read the documents your counsel flagged. You read them with the feeling of a person reading the unexpurgated transcript of their own mind. The documents are not criminal. They are not criminal either. They are the documents of a company run by someone who believed in the vision so completely that the relationship between the vision and the reality became something that required active management. The prosecutors call this fraud. You call it leadership under uncertainty. This distinction is what the case will turn on. Stage 9. The fall. You're 45. The stock is down 73% from its peak. The board has accepted your resignation with a statement that thanks you for your founding vision and is written with the specific warmth of a document composed by lawyers. Your net worth on paper has gone from $41 billion to approximately $6 billion, much of it illiquid. $6 billion is an incomprehensible amount of money. It does not feel like one right now. You move out of the Pacific Heights house. You move to a house in Marin that your security team approves of. Your co-founder, the one you fought with for 8 months, sends you a 2-sentence message. He says he is sorry about how things turned out. He says he hopes you are okay. You sit with the message for a long time. Then you write back. You say thank you. You mean it more than most things you have said in the last decade. Stage 10. The reckoning. The plea agreement takes 14 months. You plead to 2 counts of securities fraud. The judge sentences you to 24 months in a minimum security facility in California. You report on a Tuesday morning in March. You bring 3 books. You have been thinking about priorities since the board meeting, since the leak, since the clip, since the 2-sentence message from your co-founder. You have been thinking about what the whiteboard was actually for, whether the growth curve was the point or whether it was the visible symptom of something you told yourself was the point. The genuine version of what you built, the version that existed before the machine and the board and the 4 million documents, was real. It is still there, underneath everything that grew on top of it. It is the thing that existed before the number on the whiteboard became the only number that mattered. You sit in your room with your 3 books. You have 24 months. You begin the long work of finding out what is left when everything else has been taken back. Stage 11. The after. There is a version of this story that ends in redemption. The founder who lost everything and came back with wisdom and a smaller, better company built on values rather than metrics. This version exists. It has happened. It requires a specific honesty that is rarer than talent or ambition. It requires the ability to look at the whiteboard and see not just the curve, but the cost of the curve. Every employee who knew the numbers were soft and said nothing because saying something was too expensive. Every investor who trusted the story because you told it so well that even you believed it completely. The after is possible, but it requires the before to be seen clearly. Not managed, seen. You have 24 months and 3 books and a room with no summary documents and no one whose proximity to you depends on your confidence remaining intact. For the first time in 15 years, the picture you receive of yourself is unfiltered. It is not comfortable. It is the most valuable thing you have had in a decade. The whiteboard is empty. You pick up the marker. You begin again. Smaller this time. Truer this time. That is enough. That has always been enough. It took 45 years and $40 billion to understand that. But you understand it now.